Board of Zoning Appeals to order at 7:03. And first order on the agenda is introductions to the members. So Jeff,
Jeff Watson, representing Carroll Plain. Doug Walker, representing schools.
Everett Snowberger, Town of Camden.
Teresa Maxwell, I represent the commissioners.
Laura Mills, area plan.
Cameron Yates, area plan director.
Cindy Harmon, legal counsel.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the meeting of July 26th. And each of us should have a copy of the minutes in the report packet. Are there any additions, corrections as presented?
You just need a picture of me and then just for it.
He did them.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
she
left,
was
oh,
at-
that's right.
She wasn't-
I was-
You, that's, never mind, I'm sorry.
Okay. Any additions or corrections? Jeff, Lisa?
No, I move the minutes be, accepted as written.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on is the variance 2022-5 Musser. And yes, is there anyone here who would like to come up and tell what you want to do, sir? State your name, address.
Pat Musser, it's 10406 North Carroll Avenue. And what we're looking to do is put a swimming pool in the front yard on the lakeside.
Okay.
We have to encroach on the 20-foot setback from the water's edge by 10 feet.
How big's the pool?
15 by 34.
It's big enough for all of us.
We tried to work through some things where we didn't have to do this, but it wasn't by much, but it just took up pretty much. It's gonna be a really nice project, but it just wasn't gonna fit, so here we are. We did try.
Where is the SFLECC
They approved on that.
property line with respect to?
They were okay with this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cameron.
Yeah, I have not done a complaint on this at all.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm just asking where the property line is.
For FLACC to be the water's edge, I would assume.
Well, not necessarily.
They come back, they
Sometimes
come
it's-
back from the water.
Sometimes it's water's edge and sometimes like my property is a few feet onto the ground.
I know they came down and looked, and they were okay with it. I do know that,
Yeah,
yes.
this goes all the way down past his, wall, down to the bottom.
Okay, so yours is probably right there.
I've got some rough pictures, actually layout, if you wanna see kind of where I'm putting this. Okay.
Then I won't see it. That's good.
I'm good with it.
It's on the lot 50 on the bottom edge is where it's gonna go. So right where Ken has,
Right there where the pointers go.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Yeah. Thanks, sir. Cameron, you want to go over your staff report, advertising, sign, et cetera?
Sure. Carroll County Area Planner received an application from Pat Musser for a variance to the Board of Zoning Appeals, located at 10406 North Earl Avenue, Monticello. It was properly advertised in the comment on August 10th. We have not received any inquiries. I spoke to SFLECC, I believe the day that we were trying to figure out if this would fit. I've gotten no negative feedback whatsoever, so. The sign was properly advertised. The use of value of the area adjacent to the property would most likely be unaffected. The property value of the subject parcel would increase with the addition of the swimming pool. The change in the front setback would not be injurious to the public health, safety, moral, or general welfare of the community. The staff provides a favorable recommendation for approval of this variance.
Peter's, I'm assuming Peter's page.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we proceed with questions.
Well, we have to ask public comment.
Almost.
I have a phone.
Okay, open public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of this, variance? Anybody wish to speak in opposition of the variance? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any other questions or discussion from the board?
I move we proceed with the questions.
Okay, motion made, second. Any discussion from the board? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, so now we proceed with the questions. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take
Variance.
it.
All right, appeal to the board requesting the variance shall demonstrate the board approved such variance only on determination in writing that. First question is, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Motion must be made in such a manner that it demonstrates that this will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
I move we accept this variance. It will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, as his house borders on the backside of the pool, and there will be no easy access for it.
Second. Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Second question. For this to be approved, the use, the motion needs to be made that states that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner.
I move that we accept this based on that it is not injurious to the use and or enjoyment of others in the vicinity. It will add that property value.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion from the board. Hearing none, call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Third and final question is, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. Motion must be made that would demonstrate that.
The property owner has land and he can use it, but he can't do what he needs to because of the size. And that what he's gonna take out of the area in there and the lake, I don't believe will harm anyone.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion from the board. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you very much for your speech. Okay.
What color is it gonna be?
Okay, next item on the agenda is special exemption
It was harder to get the variance than.
2022-1 Hammonds.
Do this again. I think you're all here when I know you. I'm Mark Hammonds. I'm from Logan's.
Again.
Different. Some.
I forget that one every time. Sorry.
Did it start all over again?
Yeah.
I just didn't want to drive out there and have to go and get back here. Do it all one night.
Make it easy for you.
Yeah. But do I wait for you, Cameron, to,
Are you ready for him?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, we purchased a piece of property that's immediately east and south of the Columbia Title Building on Washington Street. Doesn't have a 911 address, but it's just a stone's throw from the other property that we discussed just moments ago. Our intent on this is to build a duplex, a single duplex on it. But as I understood through Cameron, we had to file or ask for a special exception on this, so that's the purpose for my being here tonight.
And this is in the, Delphi zoning district. So
You want
Delphi,
urban,
so Delphi zoning ordinances apply, not Carroll County.
Correct.
And, in the, let's see, if I estimate correctly, is lot size about 14,000 square feet.
I can confirm that. Oh, let's see, I can tell you.
No, it's 145 by 101. No, so that would put it just over, put it over 14,000 square feet.
It's 0.365 acres.
Well, the square footage, the minimum lot size for two-family with sanitary sewers would be 8,000, or 4,000 square feet per dwelling unit, or require a minimum of 8,000 square feet.
8,000 and what? I didn't.
This is
didn't write that.
14,000.
Huh?
14,000 square feet.
We have 14.
Yeah.
So you meet the minimum.
Thank you. I got a
See,
little panic
almost
there.
double.
I'm just,
You know, there's a chart there that, it's tricky, you just gotta go down step by step, but it's not hard to get confused.
You know, when you're trying to do math fast and you're afraid what you're
That's
saying, you
all
can't
right.
do this,
That's
I
all
was like.
Yeah.
And, it says minimum lot width is 70 feet, so I guess it doesn't really matter which, whether you're gonna go onto Washington Street or onto the side street, you would meet the minimum requirement of 70 feet.
I have 109 feet of frontage on it, and that's based on using Deacon Schneider's tools to measure it.
Right. So, just out of curiosity, which, are you gonna be facing Washington Street or the side street?
Facing Washington Street, what is my desire?
So that will be your front yard.
Yeah. The reason, I'll show you why. Most duplexes, twin units like this, the garages are in the center to provide each privacy. And so there's no way for me to reorient this to come in off of the alley. So I would prefer to get again, I guess when we're talking about curb cuts for the other project, we'll have two that are within about 50 yards of each other.
So what we're doing is a variance
Yeah.
on the application of a duplex in a U1 district, which that has, you know, I'm just asking these questions because these are things you're gonna have to deal with. But, you know, they're not really under our purvey at this point in time because, you know, you're gonna have to come to Cameron and determine what the front yard is, and front yard setbacks off of the highway and side yards and rear yards. You know, and you'll have to either be in compliance with that or come back for another, either a variance or a special exception, whatever. So consequently, all we're looking at is whether you're putting something other than a single family dwelling in a U1 district, you know, which is permitted, you know.
How many units will per meter?
Just two, yeah. The lot's so small enough, so small I can't, like, there's no way you could put two. But this represents
Now Cameron,
the
the way, well,
property
it's saying
and
so.
how it would fit.
Ever says, the book says 4,000 square feet per unit for a duplex, but if you got two duplexes, that's considered multi-families, they only need 2,500 square feet per unit, correct? On the same lot, so he's back that, he's got plenty of land, wants to build more back there. I'll get 2,500 square feet per unit.
We asked the question previously, if it goes by building as a unit or individual. I don't know.
Whenever I went through, it always went to, once it got past the duplex, it was considered multi-family, then we looked at what you do, so you only need 2,500 per unit then.
Technically, on a 14,000 square foot piece of property, you could put almost 5 units on it.
Yeah.
Something's not.
So you
adding
got
up.
That's according to rules.
No, that's not what I'm saying, the math. 14,000, how'd you get that?
And I think from our perspective, this is a nice area. We want to have a beautiful, and we'd like a nice backyard.
You've requested for a duplex, and
Yep.
that's what we're looking at. We're just
Yep.
3 of an acre,
stating, you know, that
14,000.
you could have requested more.
.365.
0.365 acres, so it's not 14, it's 101.29 by 145, so.
What is it, every acre, 429? What is an acre?
43560.
Okay, take 36.5.
Well, just do the 145 by 101. Well, that's not.
It's not, lot's not straight though.
No, that's gonna be, it's gonna be probably about 95.
You do the 109 by 130, the long side on that property, that's 14,000, but it's not exactly, because it's not a,
Yeah, you're almost full.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got more than adequate.
I've got more.
You have more than adequate for replan, yes.
Yes, for what he's applying for, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Good question, I just feel like this is the easy part, I have a feeling when you try to tie onto the federal highway with a driveway, you're in for a long process.
Yes, you are. I'm going through it right now. It's not fun.
And it's,
And you're in
that's,
town.
yeah, and that's what I did prior to coming here, they're very safety oriented, traffic counts, there's a lot of engineering. So, let's just say you was gonna build a massive apartment complex, that would be considered a major commercial drive.
Yeah.
Since that's an alley, can you access the alley, or you can't access the alley because it's not 20 foot wide? You know, everything access is supposed to be 20 foot wide. You couldn't go in off the alley and
That would have to be granted through the city, so I don't know that,
Alley's an access point then. Existing.
I don't know exactly how, it's, you getting 20 from Beacon, or?
I thought I read someplace where any lot has to have a 20 foot frontage to road width.
Well, yeah, so not knowing exactly what that
And the
alley is
probably-
now. Yeah.
What's let's see, front yard is 35 feet on major collector highways, 25 feet on all of the streets.
And this
See,
is
the
the
property,
major
that's 35 feet from the property right away, and that highway's probably, what, 95 feet wide? So it's clear back to the other side of the sidewalk, so it's half land that you usually can't build on.
Yeah, so the property line's here, so the state right of way is probably, usually I could go off of a telephone pole or something, but, you know, they will allow asphalt, stuff like that, structures, you know, which that's, you're gonna obviously use that front 35 and all that for ingress, egress, but. Yeah, so that's all state highway stuff, so what they would have to approve any of the,
I'm back about 30 feet as it is, and I could go back further right now.
you could or couldn't,
Could,
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Well-
still be in the setbacks.
yeah.
Well, just be aware that, you know, that may be
Yeah,
a,
that's
That may be a
that's a
showstopper.
hidden,
Intention.
it doesn't have a feature on Beacon to show the state right of way. We have a road right of way that shows this part, but there's areas out there that's not, and people say, well, I can live there, it's my property. It is, but,
there's a road flag.
yeah, in the event they ever wanna widen this road, that's why they have that. So, just, yeah, that's down the road, but the state's very shaky on it. This will be the Port District, which I've never done with them on, but that's down the road.
That's everything out of our control. We're just trying to
Absolutely, yeah.
Make it so you can get.
You can get heads up.
Get to the next step, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I understand.
we wanna make sure.
This is the easy one.
That you're with eyes open going forward, you know, and you don't run into a brick wall and say, oops, what I do.
Did you also buy the house and where the car sales were?
No. This one right.
I think there was a house on this property recently, but there's not now, it's just an empty lot.
You know where the Reinhardt building is?
Yeah, I know where he bought it.
Oh, I wonder
I
if it'll
just
make a
didn't-
difference, because this did have a home on it, so I don't know if it came
It's
in off
one
the
that
alley
they-
or if it was off the Washington.
I think it went off the outline side of it, yeah.
You can kind of see a little bit of, I don't know if that was at one time.
Thought it went off Vine Street.
No, this is going on.
Yeah, this is this lot right here. So they have, that's the only, unless that's the drive right, yeah. The only place I could have seen is maybe off the alley here, so I don't remember a house there, but that's.
And I think there would be, because of the irregular shape of the lot, I could turn the building and come in off of the alley, if that would be permitted, if the state
Well,
has
no,
trouble with
That's
that.
to the city.
Yeah,
So that's a separate.
That's your battle with the state.
Yeah, you'll get to that point once you know, but we wanna get past this part first, I mean, the
Got
next
it.
step.
Step one.
Yep.
Thank you.
So,
Any questions?
I don't have any more. Anybody else have questions? Teresa? Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cameron, staff report, advertising, et cetera.
Yep, everything was properly advertised in the comment, on August 10th. The sign was posted, all fees were paid. We have not had, any questions on this to date. The area would be improved by construction of a duplex on the property and provide much needed housing for the city of Delphi. Staff would provide a favorable recommendation to the city of Delphi for approval of special exception. All requirements were met prior to the meeting.
Okay. Any other questions? Public hearing, anybody who wishes to speak in favor? of
I
this?
do. I love him and I just can't wait. I have to go to the podium?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
This is my girlfriend.
I'm Patricia and,
Last name
Hammonds, ooh, sorry.
and address, et cetera.
So we live in Cass County, but we own property over here.
Just give us your address, name and address.
Logansport? Is that what you're asking?
2525 Hasty Hill in Logansport.
Okay.
She's my wife, I was just kidding.
So, we're hopeful that we can get this done, and we might wanna seek you out since you have a lot of.
Oh, no, I have no, I'm battling my own.
Okay,
Lots of details.
and I think that this would be a much better use of what's happening in that area. And we also love the community, we've been working on a couple homes, and, everybody's super neighborly, and someone brought us a pie, and, the neighbors are loving what we're doing on existing. So, hoping that we can get this done and not,
And you're tackling the market, not very fast. As far as your duplex, I've got duplex, I've got apartments, but you got something in the price range that, is gonna be very needed.
yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna be the lower end.
No.
Advertise or anything.
We're only gonna do stuff we wanna live in, so.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Any questions? Call the public hearing closed. Any other discussion from the board? Hearing none, I'd like to make a recommendation or make a motion.
I move we ask the questions for special exception.
Second. Motion is made and seconded, discussion from the board. Hearing none, call the question, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, so now we proceed with the questions for special exception.
Who's gonna ask them questions?
Is that Delphi or is that your?
Oh, that's your opinion,
Yeah, so we just gotta.
I'm sorry.
We don't get very many special exceptions, we get a lot of variances.
You get very few for Delphi. I did not catch that when we were doing this earlier.
131.
Would it help you guys if I made you separate things and had them laminated where they were special exception variance questions?
Yes, I have mine highlighted.
Okay, I'll make you guys a separate, or you can still put it in your packets, that way it's
That would be
in the
nice.
front.
Yeah.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
And I've got corners folded and pages.
You are the best.
I got tabs on, but I didn't tab the,
I didn't.
Here, you want these?
is that right out of the Delphi?
It's
the
word for
same,
word.
it would be the same as the county, because that's federal stat, or state
And it's
statute.
the-
No, it's
yeah.
not exactly the same, because Delphi doesn't have some of the stuff that Carroll County does, and I've been bringing that up for.
The questions are the same.
Yeah,
The questions are the exact same.
yeah, because that's by state statute.
Okay. The first one is that the special exception, motion will need to be made, there'll be 5 questions. For this to pass, the motion will need to be made that the special exception will not endanger the public health, safety, morals, and comfort or general welfare.
I move we accept this, grant this special exception. It's not gonna endanger the public health or safety because it's, on a corner lot, it's gonna be set back to where there will be no issues with that. I'm hopeful that it's not going to be anything that affects the morals of this community, but it doesn't seem to be that way. Comfort and general welfare will be, it's gonna be a nice duplex put in there, it's not going to be the lower end duplex.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion from the board. Hearing none, call the question, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next question that a motion will need to be made is that the special exception will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the vicinity, nor diminish and impair values within the neighborhood.
What he's putting is nothing more than housing. The area needs housing and it's on a city lot. Nothing, no downside to it.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, any discussion from the board? Hearing none, call the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The third question, that the special exception will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district.
I move that it will not impede, the orderly development and improvement. It actually is adding to, considering it's a vacant lot now, so it will be a definite improvement.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded, any discussion from the board? Hearing none, call the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The fourth question, that adequate utilities, access road, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided.
The city of Delphi will provide the utilities, it's on a major highway, so there can't be a possibility of problem. So it moves forward fine.
Motion's made and seconded, any discussion from the board? Hearing none, call the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Fourth, fifth, and final question, that ingress and egress points are so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets.
This is one that they're going to have to work with the state, because they do not currently have ingress and egress off of that. So we might grant this, but you may have to make changes. You may have to come in off of Vine Street, you may have to do something different, but, you know, I'm not sure how I wanna word that, to say that yes, they can, as long as they get approval from the state, I guess would be because they do not have adequate ingress and egress at this time. But I'm sure they will work with the state. Yeah.
You can't come in off of Vine Street,
No,
But-
the next one.
but you can come in off the alley.
Off the alley, sorry. Yeah, thanks for the correction. But you could, you need to work this out with the state. We can approve our part of it with the stipulation that you must get approval from the state.
Understand.
Yeah. Second.
So, want to put that in short terms?
Yes. I move, I make a favorable motion for this exception, that ingress and egress points will be designed to minimize traffic congestion on the public streets when you work this out with the state.
Second. Second, that's a lot more. to
Hey,
say.
there was a lot more
I know there
discussion I
was a
wanted
lot
to
of
say.
thought, but. It's okay.
Guys.
Any discussion from the board? Any discussion? I'll call the question, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, you got a variance to put a duplex on a U1 lot in the city of Delphi.
Good luck.
You are not done yet.
I think he's told us we've just opened the can.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
That
the easy-
alley's looking good.
I was like, we're the easy ones.
You're past step one, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and we'll go through the next process.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh,
You are, yes. That's the business name then. Yes, yes.
I just didn't want you going there thinking that that was.
Okay, next item on the agenda,
It's me.
director's report.
Yeah.
You all are here for the ABC meeting. Been busy, and we're gonna look at, get
From
some
the
regulations and maybe an ordinance, some zoning classification for solar fields. Um, Slow in the new dwelling numbers, however, we're still busy within the office doing items such as these. Take a lot of time and effort from Gloria. Other than that, we're chugging right along, and Cindy's helping us through each day, and we're doing good. Considering the market and the world, we're still moving along, there's still progress, so we'll be working on some language for solar. So we'll discuss, I'll be going to a conference in September for flood zone stuff, the annual training, continuing education, and I got accepted into the Carroll County Leadership Academy program, which started last Wednesday. I think it goes for 10 months. So looking forward, the first class is an eye opener.
Are you teaching or learning?
Learning. A lot of fun, and a lot of group exercises, and so it's a good, I would recommend everybody that's in any role within Carroll County as a leadership to better themselves and continue education. So just day one, I learned a lot. So I'm trying to better myself as a manager, and hopefully better for the community, so.
Just, at the APC meeting, you said there's a lot of changes on health department that's going to affect.
Well, it's not gonna affect us directly, it's gonna affect the homeowners. So, there's new standards for septics, and Jeff will probably be able to tell you a lot more about this than I do, but he doesn't do the septics directly, but he has to contract them out, and those contractors have to meet criteria. That's been in place for forever, I believe. But the problem is in the past, is knowing where the current systems are. You know, we have GIS systems now that we can tell it where everything is. Each office has different layers. The state's just gonna start changing things to where if you have a current house, and you wanna upgrade your house, add on. Say you wanna add a bathroom and a bedroom, well, that might need a bigger septic field. So if it goes over that threshold, you know, they can't get a permit from us for a home or an add-on, unless it meets the state Board of Health criteria, and the Carroll County Health Department signs off on it first.
What do you do about, what are you gonna do about, homes that were built in the '70s, and septics were put in?
That's what.
In accordance with the rules, you know, and trust me, I used to put them in all the time.
We won't do anything, it's what the health department has to do and the homeowner has to do. So really, I think what they wanna do is be able to identify the tanks and what's in there. Is there gravel that feeds the fingers? Is it dirt? What's, you know, I'll be real honest with you, he said the word earlier, it's bureaucracy at its best, because it's gonna slow everything. These people are gonna have to dig up their current fingers and stuff just to see what's under there, just to see if they can add on. So they're gonna have to dig up their yards just to do an addition. It's absolutely.
So they will allow them to go back and.
No, yeah, I mean.
Because I know a lot of stuff I put in the '70s and '80s and stuff, give them from the health department, come out, take a look at it, you know. There was no map submitted or
Correct.
anything.
So now the state is tweaking that to where, and there's a lot of counties that it's that way.
From the contractor point of view, there's a lot of room additions put on that closet, since we know that.
Yes,
That
yes.
means you're not a bedroom until they get done, and then people put temporary things, because they don't wanna pay for the additional septic system. That's been going on in other counties a long time. I've added 2 rooms on it. He said, "You remember, this is a second family room, or this is a
Yeah.
den."
It's interesting what you'll see on real estate, websites where, because if you've been in a house, you're like, wait a minute, I know that didn't used to be a bedroom. So that's.
They're having problems with that now too, because they're going back and seeing there and saying, well, you can't call it a 3-bedroom. The appraiser's saying, it's listed as 2-bedroom on the county.
Correct.
Can't make it 3 bedroom, sorry.
Correct, and we deal with that as well, because banks will call. Banks will call and ask a lot of questions, because they're protecting their investment, so. Everything don't line up, you know, a lot of setbacks happen, which we're finding out in the office now, that banks and title companies are doing their homework. So, we're gonna work through it, and like I told the area planning board, our new, health department guy's great. He's chipping away at a lot of things and doing a great job, and I feel very comfortable working with him on all that things.
I don't know, if you understand completely what's going on with the banks. You look in that Miller's magazine, about 15% of the loans the banks approved closed, federal government sent them back. Didn't have the T's crossed and the I's dotted, so they made them go back to so now the word your local bank got a loan for 2.5%, which they can't do, can't make any money on. They got that loan back and they're stuck with it now because they didn't do it right.
Yep.
And a lot of things is what you're talking about there. And the realtors are going, oh my, oh my, oh my.
Yeah, we never had to do this before. Yeah,
That's gonna kill the housing. You know, because once the banks are sitting on all those loans, they can't resell them.
Correct.
They're gonna
losing money on
dramatically reduce their, lending capacity, and therefore, new home loans are going to get very expensive.
That's all I got for the director.
Cindy, yeah.
Nothing that I didn't report earlier, just backing them up.
Okay, all right. Do I hear a motion?
I move we adjourn. Passes.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. That's all, folks.
Who's second?